Rabbi.
Good tavach, everyone. What's up, Aaron? Something important?
This Wednesday's hummus share, I want to sponsor it for my mother.
Okay.
Okay. Send you an email?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Rabbi.
As long as Alan Square is doing that, my mother's yard site is also that Wednesday night, and I'm dedicating it also. But also, I'm dedicating it to the love that you have for your Talmidim. That even though a doctor told you to stop learning, you learned anyhow. And I'm very impressed with that, Rebbe. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'll tell you the truth. I was pretty impressed with it too. That was the chumash here that followed was not an easy effort, especially since I had a pretty rough night afterwards. But Baruch Hashem enabled us. It's a schus of the Talmidim. I have to start this year now with some regretful news. Our Bava Metzia Daf, Berish Kesseman, lost his mother today. His mother passed away on Shabbos. So we're going to learn for her. The Levaya won't be until Monday in Boston. But we'll learn for her Miriam Sarah Bas Aryeh. Her neshama should have an aliyah and a lichtige Gan Eden. Also, our Bava Metzia Daf Gedalia Engel has a yard site for his sister, Rechama Leah Feges Sasya Bas Avram. Her neshama should have an aliyah. We are sponsored here nightly by A.B. Spry for the schus that all his children should be Babas. That's why we're learning the Babas. And by Michal Avram Chavin for all of us to learn Shas with Gesund. We welcome in everyone. It's a big job to come on a Motzei Shabbos and learn 2 blat of Ezel Neshech. Ezel Neshech is from the most challenging prokim in Shas, is Zav and Ezel Neshech. So bravo to all of you as we welcome in. Here we have our 30th Zoomer chiming in over here as we welcome in Saba and we welcome in Dr. Block and Yitzi Fuchs, Shelley Zeitlin, Dr. Guy, A.B. Spry, Mel Zachter, Mark Frankel, Irving Fishbaum, Menachem Umansky, Ben Zion Cohn, Shimon Klein, Michael, Eddie Chazan, Yitzi Muller, Marshall Caswell, Nachman Chapler, and Bruce Eisenberg, Aaron Swade, Yisrael Fisher, somewhere in between Tannersville and Brooklyn. And of course, he's making a new commitment with Svira to come to us more often, not just when he's in Tannersville. Moshe Lehman, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, a father and son team, that's really terrific. Elia Shutman, Chaim Braun, Yehuda from Yerushalayim, Rabbi Kranz, Naftali Javelin, Abe Arbach, Shimon Deer. Here in Shul, we are joined by Gedalia Engel and Michal Avram, Reb Halpert. It's great to have you. And Ruvain Shanit. We are holding on Daf Samachay Amid Aleph a little bit ahead, which is good. We're holding by Amar Abaya, which is 7 lines from the top, and I start with a tefillah to Hashem that I should be able to explain it to you well. Amar Abaya, Hai man de masik zuze de rebisa bechavre. What happened over here is that Mark owed Chatzkel ribis. So v'ka'ozle chite arba grive bezuza. Wheat was going for 4 measures azuz. Now, it's interesting. Elsewhere in the Dorim, the Mefarish translates grive as a saw. But it can't mean a saw over here, because no way that 4 saw would go for a zuz. That's impossible. So here it means a type of measure. Arba grive bezuza. The ribis that Mark owed Chatzkel was 4 grive per zuz. Beshuka. That was the rate in the marketplace. V'yov le'iu chamisha. And Mark, when he paid the ribis, instead of giving him a 5 grive for a zuz, 4 grivei for a zuz, he gave him 5 grivei for a zuz. Now, we're going to see that we paskin like Rebbe Eliezer, that ribis is retrievable b'dayanim. So Mark could get back the illegal interest that he was demanded from. Ki mapkinon mine, when they take the ribis back from Chatzkel, arba mapkinon mine, they only take from him 4 grivei azuz, because that's what the ribis was, because the rate was 4 grivei azuz. The rest was a reduction that Mark gave him that he's allowed to keep. However, Rava says no, he has to return Mark everything. He has to return him the 5 griva, because Chamisha Mapkin Aminei, we take from Chatzkel all 5 measures to make Karbatoris Ribisa Asiliyade, since it came to him as a ribis payment, so Mark gets it all back. Vamra Baya. Here again, Mark owes Chatzkel 4 zuz of ribis, and v'yovle glima begavayu. And instead of giving Chatzkel the 4 zuz, he gave him, a jacket. He gave him a jacket. It was a jacket worth 4 zuz. It was a nice, one of those. What are they called? Wind jackets? What are they called? Yeah, well, it was a nice windbreaker. Mark gave him a nice windbreaker, worth 4 zuz, as we welcome in Richard Rosenzweig. Ki mapkinon mine, when we make Chatzkel give back the 4 zuz, arba mapkinon mine. Mark could only get back 4 zuz. He can't get back his windbreaker. Glima le mapkinon mine. He owed him 4 zuz. So he could claim back that you took from me 4 zuz illegally with ribis. I want my 4 zuz back, but he can't get back the windbreaker. Rava says no. Glima mapkina mine. We make Chatzkel give back the windbreaker because we don't want people to say that's the windbreaker that he took with ribis. My time. That people shouldn't say glima de michse v'kai. You see that windbreaker that he's wearing to play tennis? Glima de reviso. He got that through interest. So therefore, we make him give back, as we're going to welcome in Dr. Moshe Tishar. Wow, that's really nice. 31 Zoomers already here on a Motzei Shabbos. 31 Zoomers learning the hard parak of Ezel Neshech. Bravo to all of you as we welcome in Dr. Moshe Tishar. It's good to have you. And Richard, it's great to have you, but if you can, we'd love to have you on Zoom, but whichever way is good for you. Amarava. Haiman Damasik Tracer Zuze de Revisa Bechavre. Somebody had a claim, again, this is Chatzkel has a claim on Mark for 12 zuz of interest. Now Mark had a apartment or a courtyard that was rented out for 10 zuz. And Chatzkel says, you know what, I'll take the apartment and I'll count it as the 12 zuz. So Haiman the Masik traces Zuze de Revisa Bechabre. Chatzkel had a claim on Mark for 12 zuz of ribis. V'ager le Chotzer, and Mark allowed him to rent from him a courtyard de Mitagra Ba'asara, that was normally, its rate was 10, but he gave it to him and he said the rent is 12, and we'll call it square on the ribs. Now, since we pass like Rebbe Eliezer and the Dayanim say that Chatzkel has to give back the ribis to Mark, ki mapkinan mine, when they extract from Chatzkel the illegal ribis that he took, tracer mapkinan mine, they extract from him 12 zuz. So here Chatzkel says, hey, 1 minute, the rent of that courtyard was really 10. I accepted it as 12 because I was getting it rent-free. I was getting a benefit. But now if you're going to take the money away, I want you to take the money of its value. I don't want you to only take 10. Amalei Ravachim Adifri Ravina V'Leima Leila Chatzkel say Ki Agrahachi Where I accepted it as a more inflated rent, that's because I was benefiting from it. I was getting it rent-free. So I said, okay, let's let it wipe out the ribbis. But now that I'm not benefiting, now I have to give it back. So kidagre kuli almahu da'agra. Then I only want it at the regular rate of 10. Says the Gemara, no, you can't tell that. Mishum da'amlei sabris v'kiblis. No, you accepted it as 12, so that's it. And now that we get to retrieve it, that Mark gets to retrieve it, he gets to retrieve the full 12. Okay, moving along now at a very nice rate. So we're going to welcome in Avram Rezepkowitz for our 32nd Zoomer of the evening, and that's nice. Avram, it's good to have you. Of course, it's always better to have you here in Shul, but if you can't be in Shul, then the next best place is on Zoom, as you make it 32, Communion Lave. You're the heart, right? That's 32 is Gematria Lave, and that includes Marshall, by the way. Okay, and a good Tavach Mrs. Fisher as well. I didn't mean to make her uncomfortable. Okay. Wow, it looks from the car, it looks like it's light outside. There is. You see Yisrael Fish's face.
I'm in the tunnel, so it's well lit up.
You're in the tunnel. Wow, unbelievable. Watching from the tunnel. Do you see the smile on his face with that new Sphira commitment to come to our shir more often? You see that? That's the Fisher promise. It's the Fisher Price promise. Anyway, so says the new Mishnah. This is a very interesting thing. Marbin al aschar. You could add to rent, but ve'ein marbin al amecher. You can't add to a sale. And this Philippe is joining us for our 33rd Zermer of the evening. Wow, look at this. Mamish in the spirit of Lag BaOmer coming up. 33rd Zoomer as Philippe joins us. So here's an interesting thing. This is a deal that I made with Shelley. Shelley, listen carefully. If I rent to Shelley my courtyard, because it has a ping pong table and he wants to play ping pong, right? So here's and I tell Shelley, look, if you give me for the year, I'll give you the courtyard for 10 zuz. How are you luck? 10 slot. How are you luck? I'll give it to you for 10 slot. However, if you're going to pay by the month, then it's going to cost you a seller l'chaydish. Then it's going to cost you a seller a month. It's going to cost you 12 slot. Again, if you give me it in advance, you're going to get it at a cut rate at 10 slum for the year. If you pay me by month, then you have to pay me a seller per month. It's going to cost you 12. That's mutter. However, if I sell him a field, and I tell him like this, listen, Shelley, carefully. If you pay me now, then how are you shalach be'elef zuz? Then you could have the field for 1,000. However, if you're going to wait till when you harvest your crops, and you're going to pay me at the time of the geirin, then it's going to cost you 12,000. Then it's going to cost you. Then it's going to cost you 1,200. And in the geirin, if you wait to pay me, so I have to wait for my money till the threshing season. Then it's going to cost you b'shnai masamana. Then it's going to cost you 1,200. If you pay me now, it's a cool 1,000. But if you pay me later at the time of the threshing season, only when you do the harvest, then it's going to cost you $1,200. That's awesome, because what is that? I'm asking him that from Agar Notter, for me waiting for my money, he has to pay me $200 extra. For me waiting for my money, I have to pay $200. He has to pay $200 extra. That's interest. So now the question is, why is it different by the rental than by the sale? Now, let me explain to you outside why it's different so that we should understand, because Shelley is kind of a little bit upset over here. He doesn't understand the difference. So let me explain you, Shelley, so you shouldn't be hopping mad. Did you find an article on Sphera yet?
I'll look after the share, please.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and I'm the one that should be hopping mad. Now, so anyway, but anyway, what happens over here is that if it's a rental, since ein schiris mishtalemes ela lebesayf, the rental is only due at the end of the rental period. So therefore, the rental is not due now when we make the deal. The rent is due at the end of the month. So when I tell him it's a seller per month, so that's the price. If he gives it to me early, I'm entitled to give him a reduction. That's not interest. He gives me the money early, I give him a reduction for giving me the money early, that's allowed. But when it comes to a sale, the money is due now. As soon as I sell him the field, the money is due. And therefore the price is $1,000. If I have to wait for my money, I'm charging him $1,200. So that means that he's paying me extra because I have to wait for my money. That's ribis. Let's see it inside. Maishna Reisha, Maishna Sefer. What's the difference between the Reisha and the Sefer? Rabba and Rabbi Yosef, Dimrei Tavayu. Rabba and Rabbi Yosef both say, Skiras eina mishtalemes ela b'seif. A rental is only chayiv at the end. So the rental is only chayiv at the end of the month. So I'm saying that it's a seller per month. So that's the price. I tell him if he gives me in advance, I'll give him a reduction. That's allowed. That's not ribis. Since it's not the time to collect yet, I'm not getting extra for waiting for my money. That's when the money is due. The money is due. It's a seller per month. It's worth a seller per month. And now, I'm giving him a reduction. I could give him a reduction. That's not interest, giving him a reduction. Sefer, since it's a sale, and I'm entitled to take the money now, so I'm telling him the price is $1,000. That's the price. If he pays later, because I'm waiting for the money, he has to pay $1,200. That's interest. He's paying extra because I have to wait for my money. Then that's awesome. I'm a Rava. Now Rava says, just as an incidental, you should know that which we say, that ein l'schiris ela lebesayf, that the rental is only due at the end of the term, doku b'rabbanan b'hol milsa, the Rabbanan looked into this, v'ukmu ha'akra, and they established it on a pasuk, kischir shana b'shana, like a wage earner from year to year. And we darshan schira shel shanazu, the rental of this year, eina mishtalemes ela b'shana acheres, is only due at the beginning of next year. So you see that the rental is only due at the end. Now, as we very good. This is a good rate. We need constant, and when it comes to this parak, every amid needs siyata d'shmaya. Every amid needs siyata d'shmaya. I want you to know, in preparing this parak and hazav, I work 3 times as hard as normal on preparing these gemaras. The im legairin, if I tell Shelley that if you're paying me later, then the shnayim asimana, it's instead of 1,000, it's 1,200 asr. Amar Rav Nachman says tarsha shari. If you act dumb, it's permitted. In other words, let's pick somebody. Okay, Marshall. If I tell Marshall that I'll sell you this field and you could pay me, it's now the fall, you pay me in the spring and it's worth 1,200. Now, even though the value of the field is 1,000, but if that's what I say, it's permitted. As long as it's not clear that I'm making the price because I have to wait for the money. I didn't say anything. I just said the price is in the spring, 1,200. You could have it now, and I'll wait for payment in the spring, and it'll be 1,200. So tarsha means dumb. Where it's not specified. Says the Gemara, what do you mean? It says, if I tell you that if at the threshing floor season you're going to pay, it has to be 1,200, aser. Says the Gemara, no, Amalei Hasam Katzlai. Over there I said now it's 1,000 and later it's 1,200. Hachaloi Katzlai. There I just said you'll pay me in the spring 1,200. So therefore it wasn't clear that it's a different price for waiting for the money. Now, of course, that's a big chiddush that you could do that, just because in the market rate it's 1,000. So it's a big chiddush. Just by not spelling it out, it should be permitted. So Rav Papa says, Tarsha Didi, my playing dumb is definitely shari. Rav Papa was a very, very wealthy brewer. Rav Papa made a lot of money on brewing beer. A lot of money. And what he would do is, the beer would be very cheap in Tishrei. It would be very expensive in Nisan. He would make it available to the people in Tishrei, and he would tell them that they don't have to pay until Nisan, but they have to pay the more inflated price. He didn't say if you pay now, he just said, here's the beer now in Tishrei, and he charged the inflated price. So Rav Papa said, Tarsha Didi Shari. My Tarsha is definitely permitted. Why? Because he said, I'm not gaining anything. I'm not gaining anything. I don't have to give it to them now. My beer doesn't spoil. And I'm not hard up for the money. I'm rich. So I'm doing them a favor. So I'm not getting anything. Says my timer. Shikroi loy pasid. I can keep the beer till Nisan. It doesn't spoil. Zuzei loy tzerichna. I don't need the money. I'm rich. I know the ka'avin milsa gabe lekech. I'm doing them a favor. So why can't I charge the later price? I'm just making it available to them because they need it. I'm not taking the money till later. So I could charge them the later price. So Rav Shesh's Breder Ravidi found a hole in Rav Papa's logic. Amalei Rav Shesh's Breder Ravidi Rav Papa, my chazi mar de ka'ozlis basa didach. Why do you look at it from your vantage point? Zilbasa did who? Look at it from their vantage point. They say that it's only because we don't have money now. If we had money now, we would get it at the cheaper price. It's because we don't have money that we have to pay the more inflated price. If we had money, we would be able to get it now at the cheaper price. Now that we don't have money, we have to pay the more inflated price. That sounds like agar nata. That sounds like you're making us pay more for waiting for the money. So now comes along Rav Chama, and Rav Chama says, well, Tarsha Didi, my playing dumb, Vaday Shari. Now here, Rav Chama, it's amazing, that's what's so hard about these Gemaras, because it's 4 words, and we have to put into these 4 words an entire story. You see, Rav Chama, let's make up a case here, and let's get a good guy for the example. Marshall. Rav Chama, Marshall, pulled it right out of there. But anyway, I know you should see the stunned disbelief on Shimon's face when I picked your name. He couldn't believe it. So anyway, Marshall, so far you've stayed out of much trouble. Well, what happened over here is I had chess sets. I had these nice foldable chess sets with the pieces inside. Here in Lakewood, these chess sets sell for $50. Marshall takes them to Chicago, where he sells them for $180. I expect him to pay me $180. But he doesn't have to give me the money right away. He could then buy in Chicago cheap Frankfurters and sell them in New York for triple the price. So he likes the arrangement because he has an advance of the money and he could do business with it and he doesn't have to pay me later until he liquidates all his Frankfurters. So, but it sounds like, at first glance, it sounds like here, since where I live in Lakewood, the chess sets are only $50, and I'm getting it for $180 a piece because I'm waiting for my money. That sounds like ribbis. So Rav Chama said, first of all, it's not that way. Because the chess sets remain mine until he sells it in Chicago. So therefore, when he sells it in Chicago, it's worth $180. So he owes me $180. But now, he doesn't give it to me right away. And therefore, what's a little suspicious is for me waiting for my money, he transports it for me to Chicago and sells it. So that sounds like for me waiting for my money, he's paying me ribbis. So the Gemara says, but Rav Chama says it's permitted. Why? My timer. Nichahu deleiku b'reshusi. He wants it to remain mine. And he wants to cart my chess sets. It's Rabbi Weiss's chess sets. Oh, Rabbi Weiss's chess sets. That's a different thing. First of all, he gets it tax-free because it's clergy discount. And second of all, they hold the market for him. Oh, Rabbi Weiss's chess sets, they'll hold the market. They give him a tax-free. And v'nokat l'shuka, they hold the market for him. Oh, Rabbi Weiss's chess sets will hold the market for you. And therefore, that's why he transports it, not because of the fact that I'm waiting for my money. So it's not ribbis. The Hilchasa says, Gemara, we already turned one page, Rabbi Yisai, turning a page in Ezel Neshech is huge. It's huge. The Hilchasa, Rav Chama. The law is that Rav Chama's tarsha is fine. The Hilchasa, Rabbi Eliezer, the law is like Rabbi Eliezer, that when Mark pays ribbis, he could retrieve it in the court. It's retrievable in the court. And I knew Mark would be a happy man when he heard this. The hilchas are Rabbi Yanai, and the law is like Rabbi Yanai, the Amar Mali Hein Mali Demeyan. In a case of a forward arrangement, where you're going to pay me in wheat, and we say that as long as you have wheat in the house, you could give me that amount of wheat, even though it goes up in value, because we say we view the wheat as if it was mine, and it's like it went up in value in my possession. So we hold that not only could you pay me wheat, but you could also pay me the value in something else, like in wine or in oil. Now we start the new Mishnah, 3 lines from the top of Samachei Amud Beis, asking Hashem for siyata d'shmaya. And wow, look at this. I tell you, when Richard Rosenzweig comes on YouTube lights up, as David Tesler is with a Jay Siegel, Joseph Gluck, Avram Hecht. Great to have everybody joining us. And David Helfgott is somewhere on Kol HaLashon. I am, by the way, aiming, just that you shouldn't think that I've forgotten about it. I am aiming to do a chok very soon. That's the plan, as I know Marshall has been really waiting for a chok, as so many of you are. Nachman Chapler is dedicating the next chok. I'm going to try to do a chok tomorrow night. I don't know if I can, but the Olam could have me in mind that I should be able to do it, because they're going to start cracking the whip on me that I'm not delivering, So anyway, I'm still recuperating. I'm still a little weak, Baruch Hashem. You couldn't tell anything on Shabbos, right? You couldn't tell anything. No, but
beautiful talk.
Yeah, that was nice to get together. We had a very nice Pirkei Avos here in Shul the Shabbos for the men and women. I'm really inspired when so many men and women come. It really makes me feel good. If there is there anything cold in the refrigerator?
Maybe can I ask a question?
Yes.
Does that mean that Rav Papa, if we don't pass like Rav Papa?
That's what it seems like. Yeah. Yeah. Or Rav Nachman. But we'll talk more about that. Now, now here, in this case, I sell Marshall a field. Now the field is worth $10,000. V'nosan loy miksas damin. And Marshall gives me $5,000. So v'amaloi, I tell Marshall, well, a mosai shetirtza, whenever you want, have a mois, bring the other $5,000, v'tola shelcha, and retroactively the field is yours. In other words, Marshall, don't step a toe into the field yet. So this was Rosh Chodesh year. It happened this Wednesday, and thank you. It happened this Wednesday, and I made up a price with Marshall of $10,000. Marshall gave me $5,000. I checked it; it wasn't counterfeit, and I told Marshall that the field is yours retroactively from Rosh Chodesh year when you pay me the other $5,000. Whenever you pay me, I'm a decent fellow. Machaloyas asada, v'nosnei mixas daman. He paid me $5,000. V'amaloi, and I tell him a masai shetirtza have mois. Bring the rest of the money. V'tola shelcha, and take the field. Aser. That arrangement is aser. He's already on the phone with his bookie. Says the Gemara, why is that arrangement aser? What's wrong with that arrangement? The problem is, who's going to eat the fruit in the field? If I eat the fruit in the field in the meantime, and then he comes and pays me the $5,000, and the field is retroactively his, then the fruit that I ate was ribbis that I got from his field because I waited for my money. On the other hand, if Marshall eats the fruit, if Marshall eats the fruit, and then he reneges, as is customary, and he doesn't pay the $5,000, so then I have to return him the $5,000 that he advanced me. It turns out that $5,000 was really a loan to me. And in lieu of having his money, he ate the fruit. So then he's taking interest. So either way, it's no good. Now we'll see in the Gemara, there is a way we could do this. And that is, we could put the fruit in escrow. And if Marshall pays, then the fruit is his. If Marshall doesn't pay, then the fruit reverts back to being mine. We'll see that the Gemara will say that the escrow arrangement works. Says the Gemara weiter, the Mishnah weiter, Hilveyu al Sodehu. Here, I give a loan to Marshall of $1,000. And Marshall gives me a field that's worth $3,000. V'amaloi, and I tell Marshall, if you don't pay me in 3 years, hariyishali, then the field is mine. Whoa. The din is hariyishalai. The din is that's allowed. Even though the field is worth a lot more money. That's the arrangement we made. He gave me collateral, a field. Field's worth $3,000. I gave him $1,000. And I tell him that if he doesn't pay me in 3 years, the field is mine. If he doesn't pay me, the field is mine. And such arrangements would Beitus Ben Zainin do al pi chacham. Now we'll get to this second case. This second case, by the way, is a classical case of asmachta. It's what we have a problem with betting. And it's a classic case of asmachta. Did Marshall really mean to give me the field if he doesn't pay? A field that's 3 times the amount? Did he really mean it? So we're gonna discuss the question of whether asmachta kanya or asmachta loy kanya soon. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niya b'dvaro. Excuse me. But first let's get to the situation of, let's get the case where I gave Marshall absconded. So let's go to Mark. Mark, I sold him a field for $10,000, and Mark gave me $5,000. It happened on Rosh Chodesh year. And I tell Mark, whenever you bring me the remaining $5,000, the field is yours retroactively. So the Gemara says, Mi oichel peiros. In the interim, who eats the fruit of the field? Rav Huna amar moicher oichel peiros. I, the seller, eat the fruit. Rav Anan says, Mishalshin es ha-peiros. We have to put the fruit into escrow. We have to give it to a third party, to Abi. Says Marvelay Pligi. Hadamar, if I didn't say it's retroactive, Hadamar Lechi Maisis Kani. Mark, when you bring me the other $5,000, then it's yours. Oh, so up till then it's mine. So then I eat the fruit, then Michael eats the fruit. However, Hadamar Lechi Maisis Kani Me'achshav, if I tell him, that when you bring me the money, you acquire it retroactively, then neither of us could eat the fruit. Because if I eat the fruit and Mark pays me the other $5,000, then that means that retroactively the field was his. And if I ate the fruit, I was eating his fruit as a payment for my waiting for his money, which would be ribbis. On the other hand, if Mark eats the fruit, so then in the event that Mark reneges on the deal, and I have to return him back his first $5,000, so then that means that the $5,000 that he gave me was really like a loan. And I allowed him to eat the fruit as payment because I had use of the money. So therefore, neither of us could eat the fruit. So therefore, it has to be kept in escrow. Tani Rav Safra taught Beribis Debei Rabbi Chia in the collection about ribis in the Academy of Rabbi Chia. We've quoted this before. Had a collection of teachings about ribis in the Academy of Rabbi Chia. Pa'amim sheshneim mutar. There's a time where both Mark and I could both eat the fruit. Pa'amim sheshneim asur. There's a time where we both are forbidden, where it has to be an escrow. Or pa'amim shamoicher mutar v'lekeach asur. That I'm the seller, am allowed to eat the fruit and not the buyer. Or pa'amim shalekeach mutar. That the buyer is mutar or moicher asur. And now Rava is going to explain it. It really is quite simple. Ani Rava Basrei, Rava explained it. Pa'amim sheshneim mutar, that we're both allowed to eat it. The Amalei, where I tell Mark, acquire the part that you paid for. Kni kashir zuzech. You paid $5,000, so half the field is yours. So half the field is still mine. So therefore, I eat the fruit of my part, and Mark eats the fruit of his part. That's simple. Pa'amim sheshneim asurim. Oh, that's where I said that he should acquire it retroactively, like we explained. Damalei l'chim maisis, when you pay, kani me'achshav. It should be retroactively yours. So there we said it would be a problem if either one of us used the fruit, like we explained. Pa'amim moicher mutar v'loikeach asur. There is times where the seller is permitted and the buyer is asur. When? The amalei l'chim maisis kani. When you pay me the other $5,000, that's when you acquire it. So then, until then, it's mine. So that's why I could eat the fruit. Pamim shalekach mutar, that Mark could eat the fruit, the moicher asur. That's where I say, when he advances me to $5,000, I say to Mark, it's yours now. And you'll pay me the rest when you get a chance. So then, if it's his now, so he could eat the fruit, I can't. Pamim shalekach mutar moicher asur, the amalei kni me'achshav. With the $5,000, it's yours now. And you'll owe me the other $5,000. Since it's his now, he could eat the fruit. Says the Gemara, now, if you remember, we had a shita of Rabbi Yehuda that the only time ribis is osir is if it's definitive. If it's only one possibility, then that's not ribis ketzutza and that's not osir. So says the Gemara, man tona shneim asurin. Who holds that both Mark and I are not allowed to take the fruit where Mark acquires it retroactively when he pays the other $5,000? That's not like Rav Yehuda. Amar Avuna B'Rei Rabbi Yehuda, like Rabbi Yehuda. It's not like Rabbi Yehuda. The Ikar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Tzad Echad B'Ribis Mutter. If it's only one possibility, it's mutter. Now, why would it be forbidden for me to eat the fruit? It would be forbidden for me to eat the fruit only if Mark pays the other $5,000 and it becomes his retroactively, and then the fruit that I ate would be Mark's fruit, which I ate because I had to wait for the money. But that's only one possibility. Mark might renege on the deal, and I give him back the other $5,000, and then the field is mine. And if I ate the fruit, that's totally permitted because it's my own fruit. Therefore, according to Rabbi Yehuda, where it's not a definite ribis, it would be permitted. Now, See, this is what's challenging about these sugyas. Every single section is a new case, a new setup, and that means that it takes very special people for this. So bravo to all of you. Bravo. Marshall, I know you went away, so he's still on the phone. Okay. These bookies, they're very demanding. It says the Gemara, it's either a bookie or a loan shark. Now, Mishkin loy bayis, Mishkin loy tzad. Here, in this case, we need somebody special for this. Where's Eddie? Is Eddie here? I think Eddie might have left.
I'm here.
Oh, Eddie, okay. Eddie, I thought you were hiding. Are you still in Mexico City?
I'm in Atlanta now.
You're in Atlanta, okay. Well, after I tell them about this, that you'll know why you were on the run. Can't keep up with him. So listen to this case. Mashkin loy bayis, mashkin loy sod. I gave Eddie a loan, and he gave collateral to me, a house, or collateral to me, a field. V'amaloi, and I tell Eddie, l'kishetirtza l'moichra, Eddie, if you're going to sell this house or this field, loy timkerein elali b'domim alalim, you should only sell it to me for this amount. And I make up a price that's very below cost. Let's say Eddie owes me $5,000. The house is worth $10,000. And I say, Eddie, if you're going to sell the house or you're going to sell the field, you'll sell it to me for $6,000. That's awesome. Bishaveh and mutter. But if I say to him, if you're going to sell it, you're going to sell it to me for its value, then that's mutter. But mantana bidomim halalu aser. Who holds that if I tell Eddie that if you're going to sell it, you're going to sell it to me for $6,000, it's aser. Now that means he's giving me a real reduction because I gave him a loan. So who holds that's aser? Rafuna b'rei Rabbi Yehuda, like Rabbi Yehuda. It's not going according to Rabbi Yehuda. Di Rabbi Yehuda, because if it's going like Rabbi Yehuda, Amar tzad echad b'ribis mutter. I just said if you sell it, he could choose never to sell it. So it's not definitive ribis. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, it would be mutter. Says the Gemara Vaita, Mantana, Machaloi Bayis, Machaloi Sada. I sell Mark a house, I sell him a field. V'amaloi, and I say to Mark, Likishayu li mois, Mark, when I have money, hirzirim li, you got to return the house to me. Again, machaloi bayis, machaloi sad. I sell Mark a house, I sell Mark a field. V'amaloi, and I tell him, likishiyu li mois, when I have money, hirzirim li. Then I sold because I'm hard up. When I have money, you got to return it to me. So let's take a case. I sell Mark. I have a pickleball court. I love the pickleball court. And I sell Mark the pickleball court for $10,000. I tell Mark, when I get $10,000, well, no, that's not a good example. Oh, yeah, it is. Because Mark rents out the pickleball court. Mark's no slouch. Mark rents out the pickleball court. From 9 to 5, it's busy in Baylor Kinwood. It's busy the whole time. People over there are looking for exercise, right? So Mark rents out the pickleball court. But I tell Mark that when I have money, you got to return it to me. So it says the Gemara, that arrangement is awesome. You know why? Because I'm going to give him $10,000 and he's going to return me the pickleball court. It turns out that really the $10,000 was just a loan to him, which he then returned to me. And the use of the pickleball court and all of the rent that he made, he cashed in, is ribbis on my waiting for my money back. So it's not allowed. However, if Mark is the goody-goody two-shoes, and he sees that I have tears in my eyes that I sold the pickleball court, so Mark, he's a soft-hearted person, he says, Rabbi Weiss, when you get the money, I'll return it to you. That's mutter. Now, right away, the Gemara says, Mantona, who holds in the first case that it's Aser? Rafun Rabbi Yehuda, like Rabbi Yehuda. That's obviously not going according to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda, well, maybe I'll never get the money. And therefore, I will never get the pickleball court back. And it will never be a problem of a ribbis. So therefore, it's a tzad echad b'ribbis, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, tzad echad b'ribbis is mutter. Ha'amad tzad echad b'ribbis mutter. But says the Gemara, Maishno Reisho, Maishno Seifa. Why, if Mark says it, it's okay? Even if Mark says it, but if he does end up returning me the money, so then in essence, it was like really a loan, and for my waiting for the money, he got free use of the rent of the pickleball court. Why is it allowed? Says the Gemara, because Mark, when he said it, he just said it as a nice guy because he saw I was crying. But it's not binding. So therefore, since it's not binding, if later he returns it to me, it's a new deal. That means it was a sale and another sale. There's no ribbis. As the Gemara says, Maishna Reisha, Maishna Seifa. Amarava Seifa Da'amalei Midate. Here it wasn't an arrangement. He said it on his own to make me feel good, but it's not binding. So then if later he says, okay, Rabbi Weiss, I'll sell it back to you, that's a new sale. It's not then like a loan, and therefore that's not a problem of ribbis at all. We're just going to pause a minute now to change the channel. You might not believe me because it's so late, but we're doing very good. We're doing very good.